Good evening. Welcome to the Planning Committee on this day, the 15th of December. Welcome councillors, welcome officers and anyone listening at home. Let's move to the first item of the agenda, which is number 1, apologies for absence. Any apologies?
Yeah, I've got apologies for Councillor Eggleton and Councillor Gavashak.
Okay, thank you. And we have Councillor Sarah Miller subbing and also Councillor Paula Isaac. Thank you for that. Okay, thank you. Moving on to the next item, which is declarations of interest. Number 2, do we have any? No, I see none, so let's move on. Number 3, minutes of the last meeting. All those, can I have a nominator, please? Thank you, and a seconder. Okay, thank you, that's carried. And now we're coming to number 4, which is public participation. Now we do have a number of members of the public wanting to speak this evening. Welcome. You have 2 to 3 minutes to speak to each item that you're speaking about. If you are actually going to be speaking about the same item, we'd be very appreciative if you didn't make the same points possibly as the person before you, okay? So you're welcome to turn your cameras back on when I call you. And the first speaker this evening is Mr. Peter Green. Hello, Mr. Green.
Hello, can you hear me?
Can you, yes. We can, yes. Can you just, before you start speaking, if you could just let us know which application you're speaking to?
I'm speaking on the application for number 44 St Mark's Road, which is, I don't have the number in front of me, P20 S3560.
Okay, thank you. So you've got 2 to 3 minutes and whenever you're ready.
Okay, thank you. I'm the owner of number 42 St Mark's Road, which is the neighbouring property. I wasn't able to join the meeting on the 3rd of November to comment on the application, but the amended plans have no significant change from our side at number 42. So the objections I raised in my letter on the 27th of October, as far as I'm concerned, still stand. And these are, firstly, to the loss of light caused by the raising of the roof height and the conversion of the roofs from hipped to gable ends. This will increase the vertical wall height of the side wall on the boundary with number 42 by 10 feet. This materially alters the skyline and will lead to a significant loss of light and overshadowing. Also, the design and access statement for the application emphasizes that the roof line will only be raised by 600 millimeters or 2 feet, but this is only in the center of the property. The roof line of the existing rear bedrooms will be raised by 4 feet, and this, together with the conversion from a hipped to gable end roof, is going to lead to further loss of light at number 42. And these points are demonstrated in the photographs I included in my comments letter in October. I also have an objection to the loss of privacy, which will be caused by the new bedroom window on the 2nd floor at the rear of the property. This is a large window, which is much higher than the existing 1st floor rear window. And the window overlooks the rear rooms and gardens of number 42, which therefore substantially reduces our privacy, which we're entitled to enjoy. And on this point, the design and access statement states that the boundary between 44 and 42 is densely planted with mature trees, providing a natural high-level screen between the houses. But this isn't correct, as there aren't any trees near either house on that boundary. Again, a photograph in my letter shows this, and that means there's a clear unobstructed view from the proposed 2nd floor of number 44 into the rear rooms and garden of number 42. If I've got time, I just want to say in support of my objections, I'd like to point out that a planning application made by the previous owners of number 44 a few years ago to build an extension above ground floor single story level on the boundary of the number 42 was refused on the basis that it would block light and reduce privacy to number 42. The current planning application seeks to add 10 feet to the vertical height of the existing wall on the boundary, on the same boundary, and so has an even greater detrimental impact on number 42 than the refused application. I'd also like to point out that number 44 is in the St Mark's Road Conservation Area, where the properties are predominantly 2-storey. All the surrounding properties are 2-storey, so the proposed addition of a second floor, as stated in the design and access statement, is a second floor. An addition of a second floor at number 44 would not be in keeping with the character of this conservation area. Thank you, those are my points.
Thank you. If you wouldn't mind staying on for a moment, councillors may have some questions for you.
Sure.
No, I see none. Okay, thank you, Mr. Green, for your participation. Okay, next we have Mr. Steve McCarb. I hope I've pronounced your name correctly.
Yeah, McCabe it is, yeah, but everyone says McCarb, they'll do, yes, yes. Yeah, scone
or scone. Okay, thank you very much. Now, can you just let us know which application you're speaking to, and then whenever you're ready.
36 Makins Road in Henley, please.
Okay, thank you. Whenever you're ready.
Basically, I bought 36 Makins Road in Henley. It's a single-storey bungalow. What happened was I paid for pre-planning and had a meeting with Mr. Kitson and asked him what we could do. He told us that we could do permitted development on the side and on the rear. So we started doing the permitted development on the side, smaller than what we were actually allowed to. We kept the level of the roof lower than we could have done to try and keep in with the neighbours. We also made sure we didn't put any windows facing any of the neighbours. There's 2 windows on the side which look at a garage and a fence, and the rear has got no windows, but it's got 2 large patio doors on it. So we spoke to all the neighbours, done everything with the neighbours. So what happened was we started building it. The front of the building had wooden cladding on it, or half the front wall. So we took the wooden cladding off and the wooden wall behind it. And we noticed that the front wall was moving a little bit. So what we done, I looked it up, it said that we're entitled to, under permit development, to rebuild the front wall. So what I done was I took it down at the same time as I'd done the extension for health and safety reasons. We done that at the same point as that. Someone phoned or sent a picture into the council. The council come back and said, you should have done your side extension at one point, built it, and then repaired the front extension on the other point afterwards. So you shouldn't have done them both together. So what they've asked me to do is to regularize the development. So they've asked me to put in a planning application for it. So really, it's my permit development on the side, but the repair on the front, the wall's exactly the same size, exactly the same height, built off the existing footings. So the shape of the building doesn't change at all. It's just the rear extension and the side extension, which the neighbours are all fine. I've gone on to the planning portal today, South Ox, and they've sent it to 8 neighbours to comment, which runs out on Thursday, so 2 days left. And there's not one comment being put on it yet. We've gone round all the neighbours, I've made sure they're all happy, and I've tried to deal with them as much as I can. The council basically just said they want to regularise what's on there, so that's why I've put that planning application in, really.
Okay,
we've kept it as a single story. Sorry, just to let you know, we've kept it as a single-storey bungalow. We've not gone up into the roof. We've kept all the levels very low. It's fully insulated now. It's fully up to date with everything. So, just to let you know, I've tried to do everything exactly as I should with the neighbours and the council.
Thank you.
And I've gone on a lot. Sorry, I won't say
no. That's quite all right. Do we have any questions at all? Yes, Councillor Arlett.
Could I just clarify, Mr. McCabe? This bungalow,
yes.
Did you knock it right down and then rebuild it? You didn't?
We didn't. I actually got a planning consultant, and the planning consultant feels that I've done nothing wrong, because we left a third of the bungalow up, which was still livable, had water, electric, gas. But what he said was, if we argue it with the council, it could go to appeal and it could take 8 months. And I have to say, it's been really stressful. So he said to me, just do what they want. It's going to cost, because then I've got to pay a CIL charge on it, which is probably going to cost me between £15,000 and £20,000. But to go through this for another 8 months, because it's going to be my home, I'm obviously paying payments on a loan on it, and I just want to get it done, really. It's been quite stressful over the last 3 or 4 months, because we've tried to deal with them, but because of the way things are, we're getting passed from one to another and no one's really taking control of it. So he said, look, just put that in, and if that works, then that's fine. That's what they've asked, and we'll do whatever they want, really.
Okay,
So they're not saying I've done anything wrong, they're
Yeah.
just saying they want to recognise it.
Could I just clarify with Jodie? I didn't think you had to pay any seal payments on just replacing like for like. Well, it's actually saying that you haven't knocked the house down. It's not,
That's exactly.
Mr. McCabe, it's not a question for you. It's a question
Sorry.
for the plan officer. You know, this house hasn't been knocked down, according to Mr. McKay. Why would he be asked to pay seal money on that?
The description is for partial redevelopment of this. Let me just get the exact wording. Hold on. Replacement dwelling part retrospective. So it is classified as a replacement dwelling in the description.
Sorry, through you, Chairman, you'd only have to pay seal money if there was an additional property, surely.
I'd have to check that for you.
Okay. That's
Okay,
fine.
any other questions, councillors? No, I see none. So thank you very much, Mr. McCabe. You're very welcome to stay with us if you wish, but if you could just switch your camera off. Thank you.
Lovely. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay. And the next is Mr. Montgomery, please. Are you with us? Yes.
I am.
Hello there.
Hi.
Hello there. If you could just let us know which application you're speaking to, and then whenever you're ready.
The Limes on Elizabeth Road.
Thank you. Go ahead.
My main point was just to listen to any comments. This is the first meeting, as far as we're aware. We've had some feedback from the planning office with regards to guidance around trees in the vicinity, with regards to not necessarily TPOs, but disturbance of root, and in conjunction with some other feedback on the property to our left, which also has a planning application submitted. It was really to listen to if there was any additional comments or objections from the neighbours. We've taken on board the feedback initially from Danny, and we'll carry out the initial checks around the tree. And I just wanted to come on the call to see if there was any objections rather than raise any specific points.
Well, we don't raise any objections during public participation. That your application will be discussed further down the line when it appears in the agenda. So unless there's anything else you'd like to say at all, no? Okay. Councillors, do you have any questions for Mr. Montgomery? Yes, Councillor Plant. Sorry, you're
unmuted.
Yeah.
Good evening, Mr. Montgomery. Thanks for coming on. I was just saying, looking through some of the objections from neighbours, it seems to be the dormer windows aren't necessarily the most popular, as it were. Is that something that you would look to change, or wishing to stick with the kind of the dormers as designed in the roof at the moment?
In an ideal world, if I'm honest, I'd like to stick with them. I get Danny made some suggestions with regards to the cheek and the pitch of the roof, which I think is a fair challenge. I think for a house of this size, to reduce the size of the dormer to allow access to the loft is not an unrealistic request, and I think it's definitely something we would try and work in. There's the plan is for 2 bedrooms to be up there, so I'd want some light to come in. I wouldn't vehemently object to it, but I would want to reduce rather than remove.
Thank you.
Any other questions, councillors? Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Montgomery. You're very welcome to stay with us if you wish.
Thank you.
Okay, and next we have Mr. Luke Thompson.
Hi, Councillor Thomas, can you hear me? My camera
yes, you don't have to put your camera on if you don't wish to.
Apologies, it doesn't seem to be working. It was only, I noted that agenda item 9 was for the council to consider response to the appeal against refusal of the full application for P20 51588 full. This is for 253 Grays Road. So I'm a neighbour at 251 Grays Road. I was keen to listen to the discussion that the council had on that, and just to make them aware that certainly I am fully intending to prepare a response in relation to the appeal to reinforce the comments that I made originally against the planning application and then the subsequent amended application, as indeed I believe my neighbour at 255A is. I suppose really just to say I was hoping that the town council would be responding in a similar way to the appeal, i.e. to support the original refusal.
Okay, yes, thank you. Councillors, do you have any questions for Mr. Thompson? No, okay. Mr. Thompson, you're very, oh yes, Councillor Plant.
It's actually not for Mr. Thompson, but I was going to say, I didn't get where Mr. Green lives. Sorry, it was the very original question.
Mr. Green is next door to 44 St Mark's Road.
Does he live? So he lives in 42 himself.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I believe so. Yes, sorry, any questions for Mr. Thompson? No. Okay, thank you, Mr. Thompson. You're very welcome to stay with us if you wish to. Okay, we don't have anyone else from the public gallery, so we'll move on to the main part of the agenda now.
May I ask one question, Madam Chairman?
Yes, of course.
I would like Councillor Gavishak to withdraw his planning application, if I may.
Oh, come on.
Mr. Councillor Clark, you do know the rules of engagement, don't you, at these meetings?
Well, it is on the
Please
meeting.
tell me that you know the rules of
Called in,
engagement
Madam
on these
Chairman.
meetings. Well, unless you've got some, are you
Called
speaking
in by
to an
SOD.
agenda item, Councillor
Sorry?
Clark? What's the agenda item you're speaking to?
On Pantiles.
It's not on the agenda this evening.
It's been called in by SODC.
It's
so-
not
Come
on the agenda.
All right, fine. I'll leave it
Okay.
at that.
Chairman, can I just speak and just see if I can explain to Councillor Clark, because obviously he's not understanding what happens. As a district councillor, Councillor Clark, if I have a planning application which is supported by Henley Town Council and is supported by South Oxford District Council, it doesn't go to them to make the decision. The final decision has to be made by the planning committee at SODC. It's automatically drawn in. It really doesn't pay you. It really doesn't pay you to be a district council. Everything goes against your favour, and you're just trying to make things worse. If you understood what was taking place, you wouldn't have mentioned that in the first place. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you.
Right, now can we move on, councillors? So you'll notice that there is actually a new format to the agenda. This is for the permanent members. So instead of the amended and new plans being as part of integrated into the agenda, we've now got them, further on. Now, the reason we've done that is because our planning officer was spending so much time creating the agendas that it wasn't really turning out to be a really good use of her time. So with the new format, it does assist Jodie in actually, being able to work on these agendas much more quickly and efficiently, because it's something that she can just pull down from the planning authority. So I hope that we can work with this agenda, but of course, going forward over the next sort of few meetings, I'll ask for your feedback, in due course, but certainly for the first time I've used it, I've found it really easy to use, and I hope you have too. Okay, so moving on then to plans amended, we're going to page 17, and the first one on the agenda is P20 S1565, and it's a householder application. First, I'll ask for Jodie's comments.
So the amended plans include an arboricultural impact assessment and tree protection plan. I think the concerns you raised previously in August would still apply in this case.
Okay, thank you. Do I have any proposals, please? Councillor Plant?
Are there gone no way to changing it from the initial application. All the points that we raised about overdevelopment, unsuitable for that plot 3 is completely out of keeping with the area. Yes, they've tried to mitigate a couple of planting issues, but otherwise they've made no efforts to meet our previous comments. So refusal again.
Okay, thank you. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Clark. Would any other councillor like to speak? Sorry, Jodie.
I just wanted to check if you wanted to add out of keeping into the reason for refusal. It wasn't included last time. Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
Add as much as you would like.
That's a yes. Okay, so we've got a seconder. Would any other councillor like to speak before we put this to the vote? No. Okay, so the motion is refusal. All those in favour? That's carried. Thank you. Sorry, I don't know if you can hear that in the background. We've actually got Santa Claus driving his sleigh around here at the moment. So apologies if you can,
Madam Chairman.
If you can hear that. Okay, so next on the agenda we have P20 S3560, and it's a householder application, and it's 44 St Mark's Road. Jodie.
So your observations on the 3rd of November were to recommend approval. So would think this would still apply.
Okay, thank you. Councillors, do I have any proposals? Councillor Plant?
Sympathetic to Mr. Green, obviously potentially being the neighbour next door. I thought the property was actually under offer for sale at the moment. I could be wrong on that front, but as stated last time, I believe the occupant itself, after got the architect to look at it, the roof heights on both neighbouring properties were still going to be higher than the property in question, even after the development. So see no reason to reject it. Recommend approval again.
Okay, thank you. Is that seconded? Councillor Clark, thank you. So we have a motion for approval. It's been seconded. Would any other councillor like to speak? Councillor Arlett.
Yeah, just briefly, Chairman, and I don't know the history of the property, but I was just a bit concerned when the next door neighbour suggested that when a previous application was refused for a single story for loss of light. So if this is approved tonight, I would just ask maybe if we just made a note to the officer dealing with the SODC about that comment. We're only making an observation. Did that make sense?
Yes, it does. Councillor Plant, what do you say to that? Yeah.
Yep.
You would be okay with that amendment to your proposal. Councillor Clark, a seconder.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay. Yeah. Any other councillor like to speak before we put this to the vote? No? Okay, so let's put this to the vote then. The motion is for approval with conditions as per discussed. All those in favour? That's carried, thank you. And the next one on the agenda is P20 S3674. And it's a full application. It's for 2A Wootton Road.
The amended plans show the positioning of the dwelling further back on the plot, alleviating some of the concerns over the proposal being forward of the building line. However, little has been done to the proposed size and massing of the dwelling. So your concerns of overdevelopment, overbearing, being out of keeping would still stand.
Thank you. Do I have any proposers? Councillor Plant? Councillor Plant?
Might make a proposal, but I was just going to discuss the point that on his pre-application advice, it was basically recommended that it would be okay so long as it was roughly in line with that line. So I feel almost harsh recommending a refusal since he's actually gone to the effort to get it to the line. And the pre-application advice didn't have a problem with the massing of the property due to the properties that are situated behind where this plot is anyway. But that would just be my thoughts. I'd be more in line with recommending approval, but that's just me.
Okay, thank you. Is that seconded? Sorry, my phone just went then. Do I have a seconder?
I'll second it, Madam Chairman.
Thank you, Councillor Clark. Would any other councillor like to speak? No, I see none. So let's put this to the vote then. The motion is for approval. All those in favour? Oh, okay. So it's fallen.
Well, no, you need all those against, Chairman.
All that. Sorry, apologies. All those against. All those against. Okay. So what do we have here? We have a split.
Michelle, you cast the vote.
We have too many abstentions.
It's Christmas. Give approval, please, Madam.
Oh,
Mr. Clark, that's not the way the system works.
no, we know. Jodie, can I just ask you a question? So do you remember in our last meeting, we actually discussed the pre-application advice, and the pre-application advice was that 2A Wootton Road hadn't followed it and hadn't actually, done what the officer was asking for. Have they now done what the officer was asking for?
Just getting it up so I can just tell you their summary. From the information they provided on that pre-application, which is broadly similar to what we're looking at now, they say that it's broadly acceptable and it complies with all of their policies, subject to the sort of OCC highways and submission of details of parking and turning areas. And they've said they do not consider there would be any overriding immunity or environmental objections, and so it would comply with that policy. So that's their summary.
Okay, thank you. So I think in light of everything that has been said and all of the evidence that I see, I do understand the Wootton Road, and we've had a lot of representation from the neighbours at Wootton Road. And I do see that, they do have lots of bungalows on that side. However, I think that this property is nearer to Grays Road, really. So I'm inclined to approve. Okay, so that's carried. That's my decision. Okay, thank you. Let's move on to the next item.
Can I just note on my abstention, and I had already called the application into committee anyway, the SODC. So it'll probably go to committee.
Okay, that's fine. Right, so let's move on to the next item on the agenda. And this is plans new. And this is item number 6. Okay, so the first one is P20 S2504, and it's a full application. Jodie.
So I've got some concerns over the scale of the proposed temporary timber structure, which is proposed to protrude more than 9 metres out from the rear, and it will be 2.44 metres at the highest point. Although it's stepped away from the boundary, SODC can grant planning permission for a specified temporary period, and this might be advisable in this case.
Okay, thank you. Any proposals? Councillor Plant.
Just a question. How long is that temporary period?
It can vary. It's dependent on what they classify as appropriate. So it could be a year, it could be more than that or less.
Okay, thank you. Do I have a proposal? Okay, yes, Councillor Arlott.
Yeah, I'm going to propose refusal on this one, Chairman. It's a residential area, and I think to take commercial into the back garden there and childcare. How many children are we talking about? All the noise, whatever. And I think if you get temporary, it could well move on to full planning application coming in eventually. So I'm totally against it. Say it's a residential area, it's not commercial.
Okay, thank you. So the motion is for refusal. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Romans, thank you. Councillor Crook, did you want to speak, or were you seconding?
Yeah, well, to speak to it. Also, you've got the increase in traffic going up there and the cars parking all over the place, and the excessive noise. Not that I dislike children, because I've had children. It's just the noise with the neighbours and everything. I don't think it's the right setting, really. They need to really find somewhere else if they want to have a childcare setting. It's there on neighbours, because noise, parking, and yeah.
Okay, thank you. Right. Okay. So we have the motion for for refusal. It's been seconded. Would any other councillor like to speak? No. Okay. Let's put this to the vote then. All those in favour of refusal. Okay. Thank you. That's carried. So the next item on the agenda is P20 S3 989, and it's a full application. Jodie.
I didn't have any concerns with this, subject to the
Sorry, Jodie, just before you carry on, I've just noticed this is the Catherine Wheel, so this is actually listed building as well. I'll take these two together if that's okay. Thank you.
Okay, so yeah, I didn't have any concerns, subject to the satisfaction of the conservation officer, sorry, and what the proposed fixings of the gates were.
Okay, thank you. Do I have any proposals? Yes, Councillor Plant.
It's going to go for approval. I was taking them both together, but approval for both of them. I see no reasons to object.
Do I have a seconder? Councillor Romans, thank you. Would any other councillor like to speak? No? I was just wondering, actually, Councillor Plant. Yep. I was just wondering if and Jodie, actually, did they actually say that they intended to keep the wooden gates as well, or did they say they were going to take those out?
I think it specifies it's not part of the application.
Say, did they?
It's in a different location to those gates. It's further back.
Yeah. Were we inclined to try and keep those wooden gates? I don't know how old they are, Councillor Plant.
I don't think they're particularly special unless anyone knows different. Dave might have a better view, but I don't think they're particular.
Does anybody know? No. Okay. All right. So the motion is for approval. Do we have a seconder? Yes, we did. Yes. Thank you. We've gone through there. Yeah. Okay. So all those in favour of approval, please. All those against? And all those abstaining? Councillor Arlett. Okay, thank you. That's carried.
Can I just ask a very quick question? Sorry to interrupt, but I was just messaging a friend up in King James. They've already erected the structure in the garden, and it's not a retrospective plan, it's a full plan that they've put in.
Oh, Jodie?
Does anyone else know anything about King James? But he's saying it's already up there.
Councillor Crook knows.
Yeah, because I was looking on the photographs and I thought, well, it's already there. They put the photographs in the application of it.
He's confirmed it's built the full length of the garden already.
Well, then it should be made to come down.
Okay, well, what we'll do, Jodie, if this is okay with you, when the Henley Town Council actually goes back with our comments, if we could add that in, please.
Yep. Yeah, it should be classified as a retrospective application, but it's not, is it?
Yeah. No, it's not. No. Okay. Thank you, Councillor Plant. Okay, let's move on then to the next application, which is P20 S4096, and it's a householder application. It's for 63 Valley Road. Jodie.
Thank you. So I've got concerns over the scale and bulk of the proposal. and the impact on neighbouring amenity. This dwelling was approved in 2018, and the planning officer at that time felt that the dwelling was in keeping due to it being mainly tall and narrow buildings along this road. However, this is a large 2-storey rear extension and would remove that element. I've also got concerns that the garage conversion would remove car parking, and the proposed raised decking extension could lead to overlooking. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councillors, do you have any proposals? Yes, Councillor Crook.
Refusal.
Planning reasons.
Overdevelopment, and also there's concern of where the manhole cover is. The decking would be covering that, so access to that, I'm pretty sure in the plans that I looked, it would be covering that, so that it would be difficult to access that as well.
Okay, thank you. Do I have a seconder for refusal? Councillor Romans, thank you. Would any other councillor like to speak? Yes, Councillor Arlott.
Yeah, I think it'd be a job to turn this down, Chairman, personally. When you just see what's been built the other side of 65 Valley Road, massive health there, big decking out the back. Most of them got deckings out the back there. And although I'm kind of anti garages being knocked into whatever type of rooms, it's acceptable now by SODC. Maybe when we do the neighbourhood plan, we might better change something in that. But you know, I can't see anything wrong with it. I hear what the plan officer said, but I don't think it'd be any chance of refusal at SODC.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Plant.
I was gonna say exactly what Ken did. If you look up and down that street, they've all been hugely developed, as it were. So it's not out of keeping with what's already there, or certainly going to be there and coming in the next few years. So hard one to reject.
Okay. All right. Well, we have a motion. It's for refusal. It's been seconded. So let's put this to the vote. All those in favour? Okay. All those against? Okay. Thank you. That has. There must be another motion out there.
I propose no objection, Chairman.
Okay. Is that seconded? Councillor Plant, thank you. All those in favour? Okay, that's carried. Thank you. Okay, let's move to the next one then, which is P20 S42115, and it's a full application, and it's for 17 Rotherfield Road. Jodie.
So the principle of development here is acceptable, also, although I do have some concerns over the scale of massing of what's proposed. I note that there is a existing planning permission for two dwellings on this site, and this is proposing one larger dwelling. The arrangement proposed is on a good sized plot, and it's largely consistent with the existing pattern of development in this immediate area. I do note that the countryside officer has a holding objection though, as the plans show 7 trees are going to be removed and there's no new trees proposed. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Councillor Plant.
In principle, agree with it. I understand that one neighbour doesn't. However, just to echo one point that Jodie made about not having a planting plan for the trees, and also I believe the ecology or environmental report is also out of date. I think they said somewhere it was done prior to 2 years ago. So, you know, if they wish to come back with a planting plan and an up-to-date eco-environment report, would be what I would say, just to make sure it's a lovely area. The house is, you know, great, but can't lose any more trees than we already need. So.
Okay, so it's is it approval with conditions or is it refusal in its current state?
No, approval with those 2 conditions.
Okay, thank you. Is that seconded? Councillor Clark, thank you. Would any other councillor like to speak? Councillor Crook.
I just noticed note the concern from neighbours that live next door that there could be asbestos in this building, and the fact that it's one of the original houses that were built on the site, and they're just worried it's going to lose its charm.
Councillor Plant.
we leave that to the expertise of the builders. They're not going to mess with asbestos.
So,
Yeah. Okay. Well, we have. Would any other councillor like to speak before we put this to the vote? No, I see none. So let's put this to the vote then. The motion is for approval with conditions. All those in favour? That's carried. Thank you. Okay, let's move on to the next one, which is P20 S4229, and it's a householder application, 146 Reading Road. Jodie.
So this is a proposal for a large dormer on a terrace house, which is located within the conservation area. There's limited others in the vicinity, so could conflict with policy does 2 of the local plan. That it says that it should reflect the positive features that make up the character of the local area. It is to the rear of the property though, and the front elevation will remain unaltered.
Thank you. Councillor Plant.
Listening to what they're saying about the dormer window, however, if you look across the street on the corner, I think the funeral home has 2 sort of dormer style bits even on the front, as it were, and this is to the rear. And if you look at behind this property, there's been fairly extensive changes and developments to properties immediately behind and on the streets that run adjacent to, so see no reason other than to approve it.
Okay, thank you. Is that seconded? Councillor Clark, thank you. Would any other councillor like to speak? No. Okay, let's put this to the vote then. All those in favour of approval? All those against? Okay, that's carried. Thank you. Okay, so the next item is P20 S4308, and it's listed building consents for 58 West Street. Jodie.
I didn't have any concerns. I note there's no objections from the conservation officer.
Okay, thank you. Councillors. Yes, Councillor Plants.
Approval.
Okay, is that seconded? Thank you, Councillor Arlott. All those in favour? That's carried, thank you. Okay, over the page to page 20, P20 S4354, and it's a householder application, The Limes. Jodie.
Thank you. So this is quite a large 2-storey extension protruding to the front and side, and a large single-storey extension to the rear. There's also 4 dormer windows proposed, 3 at the rear and 1 at the front. This could lead to adverse impact on the neighbouring properties and be in conflict with the local plan policy. It could also be in conflict with the local character policy, which states that all development must be designed to reflect the positive features that make up the character of the local area. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councillors, any proposals? You're all still thinking. Councillor Plants.
Does a dormer window really create much more lack of privacy than a window on the 2nd floor, was what I was contemplating to myself when looking at this. Is there any greater loss of privacy just because the window is higher up? I don't know. Any other thoughts?
Councillor Crook?
Yeah, because they can stick their head out the top. Because I've experienced it myself personally, and it's very intrusive and not very.
But they could still do that from a 2nd floor window.
But it doesn't matter. They can do it, and it's really unpleasant. So, yeah, not a fan of dormers. No.
We have to have a proposal. Okay, Councillor Plants.
I think similar to the one on Valley Road. I think due to, again, I know Elizabeth Road is long, but there's been some extensive redevelopment of some of the properties along there that I think would probably, short of recommending a change to the fenestration and say using Velux in the roof or going for smaller dormers, I don't think we're going to kind of stop the proposal actually happening. It's just whether we wish to change the character of the design, and I actually think the dormer windows look quite nice. So I'm minded to go for approval.
Okay, is that seconded? No. Okay, we don't have a seconder. So another proposal, please.
Come on, Ken. Okay, I'll go for refusal and then come back with an application which is adjusted to dormer windows.
Okay, so there, Kath, Deputy Clerk, please.
You can say no comment. You don't have to go one way or the other.
Ooh, no comment.
This is a very unusual situation, councillors.
I think they're all stuck on mute. Could be the issue. Gaff.
Okay, well,
May I ask,
Councillor Clark.
yeah, Ken, you live on that road. Does that overdevelopment in your mind or not?
Have you seen the plans, Councillor Clark?
No, I haven't seen them, but looking at the reading here, it looks quite a lot of extension work going on side and rear and so forth.
The idea of the planning committee is to look at the plans, Councillor Clark. So you really shouldn't be asking me what I think.
No, right.
Okay. All right, let's move this on then. Councillor Plant, do you want to go ahead with a refusal and come back with another design, or do you want to go for all of us no comment? What would you like to do? Otherwise, I'm going to have to make a proposal from the chair.
Well, I would say then the mood is clearly refusal from everyone's silence. So let's go for refusal because that's what we talked about the district. But I think, you know, the fact that Mr. Montgomery has taken the time to come to the meeting, I think it's the dormer windows in my eyes that are the contentious issue here.
Okay.
So let that be noted.
Okay, thank you. So we have a proposal for refusal. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Romans, thank you. All those in favour? And all those abstaining? Okay, that's carried, thank you. And then, yes, Kath.
What were your planning reasons for that refusal?
So it's the
loss of privacy.
It's the loss of, well, I mean, Jodie's basically spelled a lot of it out, but Councillor Plant is refusing lack of privacy. And was it overdevelopment, Councillor Plant, or did you not mention that?
No, I didn't mention
that. Okay, so it's the design and it's the lack of privacy. Are you happy with that, Jodie? Yeah, okay. Right, moving on then, it's P20 S4363 and it's a full application and it's 36 Makins Road. Jodie.
So yeah, we've already heard from the house owner for this one. The application it states that it's for a replacement dwelling. It's been partially rebuilt and extended. It has increased the floor plan of the house. However, it is single story and it's set away from the road, so shouldn't adversely impact on the neighbouring properties or the character of the area.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Plant.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Crook, thank you. Would any other councillor like to speak before we go to the vote? No. Okay, let's put this to the vote then. All those in favour of approval, please raise your hands. All those against? All those abstaining? Councillor Arlett and Councillor Miller. Okay, that's carried. Thank you. Right, that concludes that part of the agenda. So let's go to the next item, which is number 7, objections and call-in applications. Do you have any proposals? No, I see none. Okay, right, let's move on to the next part of the agenda then, which is 8 decision notices, and that's just to receive and note the reports on the decision notices received from SODC, and they were all granted. Okay, no comments to make? No, thank you. Let's move on to the next item on the agenda then, which is item number 9. And this is to consider a response to the appeal under the Town and Country Planning Act, appeal against refusal. 253 Grays Road. Jodie, do you have any comments before we discuss this?
I was going to suggest, like we've done for similar appeals, that you have a discussion, and I can take that, also looking at our previous comments, and draft something for your review. We've got a couple of weeks until the deadline, if that's all right with you.
Okay. Councillors, would you like to make any proposals? Or would you like to have a chat first? Councillor Plant.
I think we stay steadfast on the grounds that we've been refusing it already. You know, nothing's changed. They're not listening to the refusals each time, and they're just trying to fight it through. I think we stay strong on this one, and stop it from happening.
Do I have a seconder for that? Councillor Miller, thank you. Would any other councillor like to speak before we put this to the vote, that we put in our comments for objections?
All I would say,
yes,
Chairman, I think the final date that I saw for this one had to be in by the 28th of December, which does seem a strange date. So I would tend to get whatever we do, get it away by probably next Tuesday at the latest, just to make sure that, that our comments go in and it's received on time.
Okay.
I think if you leave it any later than that, you may well miss the boat.
Yeah. Okay. Jodie, did you note that date?
Yeah. If I get a draft to you by Friday, then we can submit it earlier next week. Okay.
Okay, so all those in favour then of Jodie actually popping something together for me, and I review it. If any of you would like to actually see it before it goes, if you could just email me quickly. Yes, Councillor Plant.
I was going to say, do the neighbours, I know this one had strong neighbourly objections, so do the neighbours need to be reminded that it's going to another stage for appeal, or do their original comments still stand and are still visible at the next stage? Sorry for my lack
Councillor Arlott.
I think Mr. Thompson said that he was going to write in, and also the neighbour from 255 as well.
Okay.
So they were, all the neighbours would have been notified by SODC about the appeal, and they would have been given the dates as well.
So they'll have the date, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, right. I don't think we need to vote on that now. I think we're all. Let's see if we can make this 4 out of 4.
Oh, actually, we did win another one the other day, Chairman. We've now won 4 on the
Have I missed one?
Oh,
Which one was that?
It's in the Henley Standard. I can't move to it.
I don't read the Henley Standard.
Ooh.
What about, how do you know what's going on in the world?
Rubbish anyway. We better give a plug. We better give a plug for the Henley Herald as well, then.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So, Councillor Arlott, actually, seriously, which one was it?
I can't remember. There was a big piece in there, and I can't remember which one it was. A lot's happened since then.
Honestly, so you should see. I mean, seriously, our inboxes, Jodie. I'm not wrong, am I? I mean, we get so many of these every day. It's so easy just to miss one. Okay, I'll look into that. Thank you for that heads up. Okay, let's go to the next item on the agenda then. We have number 10, which is Certificate of Lawful Development. These are just to note. We've got P20 S4242, which is LDP, and it's 85 The Close. And we've got P20 S4381, again LDP, and it's the Willow Cottage, Wargrave Road. Okay, that's just to note those, councillors. Yes, Councillor Arlott.
Yeah, can I just make a note on the Willows? We've received correspondence from a neighbour suggesting what's written there is not correct. You know, the neighbour is saying there was never a shed there, a garden shed, and by all accounts he's got photographs of the site.
Yeah, we have, Councillor Arlett, we have been in touch. Jodie and I are in touch with this particular person that you're referring to. All of the points that he makes are noted. What we're going to do is we're going to, I've encouraged this neighbour to actually go to because he can't actually make any comments on the planning portal, to actually email the planning officer concerned, but also Jodie is going to do the same, aren't you, Jodie? I don't know if you caught that just before our meeting. Yeah, okay. Any other questions, councillors? No, okay. Let's go to the next item then, which is 11, delegation of consideration of pavement licence applications. Kath, did you want to say anything? I think it's quite straightforward, but Kath, did you want to say anything before we actually make a deliberation on the resolution?
Only just to reiterate that this came up at the last committee meeting. We only have 7 days to respond now. So it was, I think Sheridan just suggested that this could be delegated to Jodie in association with the town and community team, just to make a response, and it goes to a lot of other statutory, I don't know whether they are statutory, but a lot of other authorities. It goes to highways and various internal departments at SODC as well for comment. So they do still get quite a lot of consideration, and it would just enable us to return something quite quickly.
Thank you. Councillor Miller, did you have anything to add, because this comes under your standing committee?
Nothing from me, no, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Plants?
Yeah, it seems like a very straightforward one.
Yeah, okay.
Approval.
All right, so let's just go. I think what we'll do is we'll just go for all those for and all those against. So all those in favour of the resolution, raise your hands. Okay, that's carried, thank you. I mean, and just to add, actually, Jodie, if you do have any specific ones that you actually want to check with councillors, please don't hesitate in getting in touch with one of us. Okay, so let's move to the next item then, which is the item 12, which is Road Traffic Regulation Act 1984, and it's concerning Northfield End. Jodie, did you want to say anything about it, or Councillor Arlett? Yes, Jodie first.
Yeah.
So this seeks to introduce sections of residential permit holders' parking bays along the southern section of Northfields End. That's what the proposal is.
Okay, yes, Councillor Arlett.
Yeah, we started on this about 2.5 years ago, amazingly enough, and we did send out forms to all the residents, both sides, east and west along the road there, asking if they were for or against residents parking. And I think come back about 73% were in favour. And then when you took out the west side of the road, because some of those have already got parking spots, it was even higher. And Councillor Gavashak took this up about 3 or 4 months ago and's really pushed it through, which just goes to show that he does do things other than what we read in the paper by other politicians. And he's really pushed this through over the last 3 months. The only thing I'd like added, it was just going to be for the east side of the road only, but there are 3 residents in numbers 59, 57, 59 and 61 that don't have garages, and they've asked if they can go into the scheme. We've been discussing this with Oxford County Council, and they're prepared to accept those 3 properties into the scheme. And when you look at the amount of spaces there'll be plenty of spaces to take theirs as well. So I propose that we accept what you have on the drawing, showing the proposed areas, and we add that we'd like to see house numbers 57, 59 and 61 added to the scheme. I'll propose that.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Planter seconding. Yes, okay, thank you. Would any other councillor like to speak, particularly councillors from North Ward? Yes, Councillor Crook.
I think it's fantastic. I think that if everyone along that other side of the road that's got the designated parking spaces all shove up a bit, there'll be plenty of space for everyone. So it's a great idea. Thanks, Ken.
Okay, all right. So We've got a proposal then, and it's been seconded to actually just go back with our comments that we approve with the additions that Councillor Arlett set out. All those in favour? Okay, that's carried. Thank you. Let's move on to the next item on the agenda then, which is item 13, which is the progress report for applications called in. Councillor Arlett, did you have any?
Yeah, I can go through a few.
Yeah.
The land at 16 Reading Road, there's a site visit going to take place there sometime. I don't know when.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about the other ones. 52 to 54 Grays Road, that was refused, I think last week at SODC Planning Committee.
What were their planning reasons?
Oh, it's overdevelopment, and one of the big ones was insufficient parking, because there's no parking around there. And the officers suggested that there was plenty of off-street parking. I offered to meet the officer one evening about 6 o'clock so she could show me where all this off-street parking was. And obviously that didn't happen. But there's no parking there at all around that area. So it got turned down for a lack of parking, overdevelopment at the site. It's massively overdeveloped. You know, four flats going on that one site. They got turned down for that, so that may go to appeal. It's pretty close actually. It went to a casting vote actually, Chairman, and the chairman went in my favour, amazingly enough. So yeah, that was pretty good. Byron House was given planning permission. 253 Grays Road obviously going to appeal. 2A Wootton Road, the new application which you discussed this evening, and all the others are just waiting for SODC to action.
We had some news come in this afternoon that number 1 Elizabeth Close has been withdrawn.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because that was, first of all, that was for 4. Was it 3 or 4? I think it's for 4. Then it went down to 2. So yeah, oh, that's good. Anyhow, it's good news for the neighbours.
Okay. Thank you for that, Councillor Arlett. Any questions from councillors? No. Okay. So let's go to the next progress report then. This is it's mostly to do with district councillors, really. Councillor Arlett, I know we haven't got Councillor Gavishak here, but have you got anything, Councillor Arlett?
It's basically as it's written there. The only one I would mention was the consultation at Ancastle Green for residents parking there, which we were, and also OCC were prepared to push forward. But there's 100 flats and houses up there, and we lobbied everyone. Well, we put a paper through each door asking for their opinion if they support it or not support it. And out of the 100, we only had 30 replies, and that was split 50-50. And just with that lack of response, you just couldn't go forward with it. You know, OCC wouldn't support. But just to get 30 responses, we found a bit strange out of 100. But at least, yeah, we tried on it. You know, there's a few residents wanted residents parking, but you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, yeah, Councillor Plant.
I was just going to say it's completely bizarre because having lived up there and speaking to the guys in Cedar House, which was the one that I lived and those around it, everyone seemed kind of desperate for it, as it were. So the apathy or the complete lack of response just seems to be mind-boggling because the parking lot, it's absolutely horrendous. Like it's worse than a joke. You know, you park somewhere, you get a note on your windscreen. You park somewhere else, you know, you get another note. You park over here, and it's just crazy.
Councillor Crook.
Can I speak about the station car park? Have we not got there yet? Am I jumping the gun?
Yeah, no, we can move on. That's fine.
Yeah, my concern is, do we really need this hotel built in that car park? Because Premier Inn are making a lot of people unemployed. And my concern that I've just had this thought come in my head that then if they're not going to build a Premier Inn hotel, would they then want to want to put flats there.
I think what I would say, Councillor Crook, is that it hasn't got to that stage yet.
Mm.
But we're just nowhere near that stage. We don't even know if Premier Inn have purchased the land.
Is this on the agenda?
Yeah, it's just in the last item, 223
progress.
on the progress report.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Because
So
of the
we
pandemic. It seems pointless building a hotel when they're laying people off left, right, and centre.
But I don't think we're not at that stage yet. They've only just agreed that the land can be disposed of. That's not necessary to say that Premier Inn have actually purchased the land. We just don't know what's happening at the moment. So we just have to wait and see.
That car
Deal with it when it comes up.
Okay, that car park. I don't know if many people have used it. Sarah might see it. That car park is absolutely rammed on a Sunday. And we're going to have nowhere for tourists coming into the town to spend their money for anywhere for them to park. And we really need to keep that car park. Not lose spaces.
I mean, we all agree, but unfortunately, we don't even know what the latest is with Premier Inn. Councillor Arlett, do you know anything?
No, I don't. All I was going to say, Chair, look, we've made our feelings known to the owners that if they do build on there, we want replacement car park spaces. So it's well known where the town council are coming from, and I hear Councillor Crook, but until anything comes back, what is exactly going to happen? There's really nothing. There's nothing we can do. It's not our land, but we have made it. Oh, let me finish, Donna. We have made it known exactly where we as a town council stand on this issue, if it was to go forward.
But can I speak now?
Councillor Crook, very quickly, because I want to end the meeting now.
They'll say that they've made extra spaces at Twyford, which is absolutely useless for us. We need people to come down and spend the money, and that's the only real place they'll be able to park.
Councillor Miller, are you wanting to speak?
Oh yeah, sorry. I was just going to say that very quickly, the station car park is very busy on a Sunday. I agree with that. Wouldn't it be great if we could just all focus on getting the Imperial up and running? It's one of the finest buildings in the whole of Henley.
We made all of these suggestions at the time, Councillor Miller, just so that you're aware.
Yeah.
And Premier just didn't want to listen. They had their blinkers on, but in the current climate, perhaps they're rethinking. Who knows?
It's such a shame. It's a stunning building. It's the first building people see when they come into Henley on the train, and it's such a shame to see it falling apart. And I would love us as a council to be able to do something, but perhaps that's another committee. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, Councillor Plant.
Is that family member still ill? Because wasn't that the reason that nothing was happening to Imperial? Because the chap that was doing it had fallen ill or had a family issue that meant it couldn't be progressed with. But
I think we're now wandering into territory that isn't actually on the agenda. So I think we should just stick to agenda items and perhaps take this offline, maybe. Councillor Crook, very, very quickly.
Last time I said this, something did happen. I said about the Red Lion, that we needed someone rich to come in and buy it, and someone did. So can someone really, really rich come in by the Imperial and save it and bring it back to its former glory? We'd love that. Thank you. That's all I'd like to say.
Just remember where you heard this.
Yes.
Okay, councillors, I'm going to end the meeting, and I'm going to say thank you so much for all of your contributions throughout this year. This is the last meeting of this calendar year of this council. So I just wanted to take the opportunity to say thank you to all of you, and thank you for your support of me in the chair. I know my concentration can wander sometimes, and thank you for reining me back in and getting me back on track. Thank you. And happy Christmas to all of you, and to officers as well. Thank you so much.